Man, my marriage has been ruined ever since Anthony and Omar got married. Michelle and Sierra then got married, so things just ain't been the same. I just don't know what my marriage is gonna do no more. God damn. I want to talk to you for a second, okay? You know, the elections are coming up. We have a lot of things to vote for. And in Maryland in particular, we can vote for question 6 that will allow gays and lesbians the right to marry. So of course there's a lot of debates going on. There's a lot of TV ads being aired that are talking against it, that are for it. So what I wanted to talk about this morning were some of the more popular arguments that I've heard against queer marriages, and the ones that annoy me the most, and I'll tell you why. The idea that, quote unquote, traditional marriage, because they love to say traditional marriage, it's between a man and a woman. And oh my god, I especially dislike hearing this from African Americans, because in the history of the United States of America, a traditional marriage is a marriage between a white man and a white woman. You know, no black marriages. There were no interracial marriages, you know, because that wasn't even legalized until, what, 1967, sometime in the 60s. But marriages between whites and whites only, that, in our history, is what a traditional marriage is. But guess what? It was redefined, wasn't it? And now you're sitting up here acting like you own it. That kind of leads me on to my next point, and that is also about black people. Number 2, black people saying it's not a civil rights issue. Well, anyone, period, but especially black people, because somehow they just can't see the connection between the inequalities that are being performed here. But please tell me, how is it not a civil rights issue? Do you know what a civil rights issue is? Civil rights is a general term that refers to the rights of a country's citizens. But newsflash, it is not the only civil rights movement. It doesn't end there. It won't. And quite frankly, it hasn't. You're witnessing one today. Get the whole idea out of your head that you somehow own the title to civil rights movement, because you don't. I'm saying this even as a black person. We don't own that title. It's not just for us. And my biggest pet peeve, number 3. The idea that marriage is solely a religious matter. Look, there's a few points that need to be made here. Question 6 is not going to force churches or clergy members to perform marriages that they don't want to. You know, they don't have to do it. That's not even true for heterosexuals, okay? They put that in there specifically to say that you will not have to perform any marriages that you do not want to. But what gays and lesbians are fighting for here is for their marriage to be legally recognized. In order to do that, you have to acquire a marriage license. That has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the church. Absolutely nothing. It's a legal matter. So that whole crap about my religion says, you know, it's bullshit. You know, because a lot of religions say not to eat shellfish or to eat pork, but y'all motherfuckers are still frying bacon every morning, aren't you? I thought so. Number 4, it's more of a point, but I just need to say marriage existed before your religion did. And I'm specifically speaking to Christians. And even if it were religious matter, you know, there are people who praise other gods. There are people who praise multiple gods. There are people who don't praise any at all. And all these other religions, or lack thereof, who marry one another every day. So do you suppose people of different religions, you know, that they should be banned from marrying too, because marriage is somehow such a Christian thing? You think they shouldn't be allowed to marry? You need to get over yourself. Oh, number 5. Number 5 makes me laugh. It makes me giggle. It makes me chuckle. It just makes me shake my head, really. Fool, if morals were really an issue in this country, I doubt most of our hit TV shows would be these reality shows where every other scene is either a fight, sloppy sex, a crime, or something of that nature. Because you know, when you get off work, you go sit your ass in front of that TV and watch that bullshit. So don't even sit here and talk about morals, okay? Because I doubt half of you will even be divorced right now if morals were really an issue. And you know what, as a matter of fact, that leads me to point 6, okay? If morality were truly an issue and you genuinely wanted to protect marriage, you would be out fighting to outlaw divorce, because what is a bigger threat to marriage than the ending of it, and that is divorce. And that leads me on to my next point, number 7. Gay marriage undermines heterosexual marriages. what someone else does within their marriage, in their home, in their lives, if it somehow cheapens the value of your marriage, then I believe it's about time you reevaluate why you got married and to really reconsider your vows. That's like going to a restaurant, ordering a steak, and the guy at the next table, he orders a steak too, and because he defiles his instead of eating it like a normal person, you want to say it cheapens the value of your steak. If somebody else eating food make you shit, then you might need to get checked because there's something wrong with you. I just don't know what my marriage is gonna do no more. God damn. Anyway, number 8. Is damaging to children raised with homosexual or queer parents. First of all, heterosexual people are the majority in the world. So obviously you're making gay children. Like I said, there are far more heterosexual people as couples and parents than there are homosexual. And look, we still have children and adults who are not very well adjusted. Let's just put it that way. You know what, let's just say it. They're fucked up because of their upbringing with their heterosexual parents. And as a matter of fact, there have been studies performed between heterosexual parents and children and homosexual parents and that have children, and they found that the results are just about the same, if not better in some cases. As long as the child has a loving household, that's really what matters the most. Number 9. Again, it's more of a point. If you really want to talk about the Bible, Abraham had 2 wives. King Solomon had multiple wives. I think that's all that needs to be said. If you're in Maryland, vote for question 6. Okay? Let's get it done. No one's going to do it for us. You actually have to get out there and vote if you want these things to happen. I don't give a